Friends, in the past few videos, many of you have been commenting to bring a horror story about a truck driver. Sometimes I think that if I keep bringing stories on the same topic, you might get bored, so I bring stories on different topics. But as soon as I do that, you all start commenting again, asking for a story about a truck driver. I don't know why you love horror stories about truck drivers so much. So, fulfilling your request, I am here again with a truck driver's horror story. But before starting today's story, I have a small complaint. I work so hard to bring these stories for you, and while many of you watch the videos till the end, you neither comment to tell me how you liked the video, nor subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, please do subscribe because your small support motivates us to bring you more such stories. And if you don't like the video, please comment on what was lacking so that we can improve future videos. Also, I have one more request. The previous story, Haunted School, didn't receive much love from you all. So after listening to this story, please visit that one too. So without taking more of your time, let's start the story. Friends, many of you might already know that these haunted and scary incidents usually happen in deserted and isolated places rather than populated areas. That's because negative energies tend to settle more in lonely, desolate spots. They choose such places for their prey where there is no one around, where there is no sign of human habitation for miles, so that when they attack their victim, no one can hear their screams or come to their aid. But those who believe in God know well that where humans can't reach, God arrives at the right time to protect us in some form. If you haven't encountered such an incident yet, then you must watch this video because the incident I'm going to tell you about today will make you wonder if something like this can happen in real life. Today's story was sent by one of our subscribers, Kamlesh. So let's listen to this story from Kamlesh's point of view. Hello friends, my name is Kamlesh and I am from the Jaipur district in Rajasthan. However, my village is far from the main city of Jaipur, and I work as a truck driver. Many of you might know that there is a cement factory very close to the city of Jaipur on the Delhi-Jaipur highway, known as the Birla factory. I work as a truck driver at that factory. It might not be wrong to say that truck driving is one of the hardest jobs in the world. Throughout the journey, there's always the fear of the police or robbers. During such a difficult journey, I also faced some strange and terrifying things, which I am going to tell you about in this story. You might think my story is fake, but by the end you'll believe that it was truly a frightening experience. Today's incident is about a very bad accident, or you could say, a nightmare that I haven't been able to forget till now. I never want to remember that incident because whenever I do, I see that horrifying face, that blood-soaked body and those white eyes. Even after the incident, for years, I felt like I could never erase it from my mind. This happened when I used to transport cement from the factory to the city of Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh. I had to make 2 trips there every week. But after this incident, I never took that route again and started driving my truck on a different route. Since then, I always try to reach my destination before nightfall. That day, I loaded my truck with cement at the factory and left for Gwalior around 4 p.m. I had to deliver the goods to Gwalior by the next evening. So I was driving at a moderate speed, listening to music, and heading towards my destination. Usually, whenever I leave the factory for a delivery, I fill up my truck's diesel tank. But that day, I forgot to do so. As soon as I entered the Madhya Pradesh border, I noticed that the diesel gauge in my truck was showing a red light. I remembered that I hadn't filled the tank. It was now around 11 p.m., and I was getting a bit hungry. I thought that if I found a roadside eatery, dhaba, nearby, I could stop for a meal, or if I came across a petrol pump first, I would fill up my tank. With this in mind, I continued driving on the highway, looking for a dhaba or a petrol pump. Suddenly, I saw a small dhaba on the service road next to the highway. I stopped my truck at the dhaba, hoping to get some food. As I ate at the dhaba, I asked the owner if there was a petrol pump nearby and how far it was. The dhaba owner told me that there was indeed a petrol pump about 7 to 8 kilometers from there, but he advised me not to go there. I asked him why, and he said that anyone who gets fuel from that petrol pump doesn't live long and dies within a few days. He said the petrol pump was haunted, and at night, only ghosts work there. I found the dhaba owner's words strange because I had never heard of such an incident before. The dhaba owner also mentioned that during the day, the owner of the petrol pump stays there, but due to some strange incidents over the years, he leaves for home by evening, and the petrol pump is taken over by ghosts. I felt that the dhaba owner was trying to scare me, and he didn't seem quite right in the head, so I didn't pay much attention to what he said. After eating, I got back into my truck and headed towards the petrol pump he had mentioned. As I drove, I saw the petrol pump on my left. From a distance, it didn't seem haunted at all. The area was well lit, with many people working there, and the place seemed lively. I turned my truck towards the petrol pump to fill up the diesel. But as soon as I reached the petrol pump, strange things started happening. The lights that were on began flickering and then went out one by one, plunging the area into darkness. I started my truck again and turned on the headlights. When I came back to the pump, there was no one there. I called out to see if anyone was around, but no one responded. Just as I was about to leave, an old man in a petrol pump uniform emerged from a dark corner and asked what I needed. I told him to fill up my truck with diesel. As he did, he kept staring at me in a way that made me uncomfortable. After filling the tank, I paid the old man and was about to leave when he grabbed my hand and said, "Where are you going?" People come here at their will, but they can't leave without our permission. His words made me a bit uneasy, but I brushed it off and asked him what he meant. I had paid him for the diesel, so what else did he want? He put the money I had given him back in my hand and, in a creepy voice, said, "We don't take money for fuel. We take blood, human blood." I laughed it off, thinking he was joking, and told him to take his own blood if he needed it. As I was about to leave, the man started laughing loudly, and his laughter in the darkness began to scare me. Suddenly, all the people I had seen working at the petrol pump earlier appeared from the shadows, wearing the same uniform and slowly approaching me with eerie smiles on their faces. Now I remembered everything the dhaba owner had told me, and fear began to grip me. I was sweating with fear, realizing that I had walked into a terrible situation and I might not get out of this alive.